It is now my honor to present your commencement speaker and a great friend of the university, Mr. James Carville.
Oh, thank you all so much. Wow, what a great thing to be here. I understand Diana Andrade, somebody 4.0. Do we have a graduate here that has a 4.0 on graduation day? Stand up, please. I want to express solidarity with you because on graduation day, when I graduated on graduation day at LSU, I had a 4.0. Yeah, that was my blood alcohol level. Now, I love college. The best 4 years of my life was spent at LSU as a sophomore. It was wonderful. I'm going to start, and this violates everything that a speaker should do, particularly a commencement speaker, but I'm going to start my speech with an apology. And I don't know how many of these I've done, but I don't want to count. And each one, I've always made it a practice. I've always been fanatical that a commencement speech has to be about the graduates because it's your day and you have accomplished something. But because of the extraordinary events that we face with here at the University of New Orleans, I have to make it about the institution. And this is something to never forget. One of the smartest things that I think is ever said was actually said by the heavyweight boxer Mike Tyson, who said, everybody got a plan till they get hit in the mouth. That no university had a better plan than this institution. That this metropolitan area, if it was going to be, it was 1950s, it was going to be a great metropolitan area, it needed a great public institution. And it has succeeded in educating New Orleanians and people from Southeast Louisiana all over this metropolitan area and far beyond. Nobody had a better plan, and nobody has been hit in the mouth more than UNO. From the engineering failure of 2005 to the buffoonery that we have in the state now that says we got to give tax credits to every schlep with a lobbyist, we have to build more prisons, and we're going to pay for it by cutting education. That's doomed to fail. A high incarceration, low education model can never succeed. And we have to understand that. So when you go today, and this is awesome because this is your day and I hate doing this. I hate doing this, but you have a responsibility to this institution and the people that are going to come after you to make sure that they can get the same kind of first-class education you got, because that's not a given. That's not a given. And we're told, but we have low oil prices, and we have to do this because we don't have the money to invest, and we can't do this because we can't have any taxes because nobody can pay them, and it's terrible, and we can't invest in education. And I got to tell you that there are people that believe that. There are people that believe that. If we don't do our job to convince them, they will continue to believe that. And this is not an original thought. This is not an original thought. If you want to know about the U.S. and education and the role it's played, I'm going to tell you, been kind of unusual for a guy in politics, but it's actually a true story. I'm going to tell you a true story about higher ed in the United States. And people say, oh, these are tough times. Okay. These are, you know, we have this, we have that, we can't do this. Somebody in the history department may write an article criticizing me or saying, I don't know history is that well, but I'm going to tell you what I think is the worst year in American history. 1862. It was awful. We were divided. We weren't getting along. In fact, we were killing each other. The budget deficit was out of control. The Union was tottering. It was going to fail. Lee was chasing McClellan all over the peninsula. Jackson was running wild in the valley. There were peace riots in the North. It was awful. The Founding Fathers' dream of a united country was in tatters. In that year, a man in the Congress stood up and said, what we need to do is give the states some land or money or whatever so they can build colleges and universities. And they said, you're crazy. How can you be talking about building colleges or universities or educating people when the whole country is going down the drain? He's a kind of, I think he was just kind of a persistent guy. Maybe he was a Yankee. He's from Vermont, and I hate to admit this, but he was actually a Republican. And he said, no, we got to do that. We got to lay our marker. We got to do this. We'll always think of something. And he persisted, and he succeeded. And they passed the act. And President Abraham Lincoln signed it. And his name was Morrell. And you can look it up. There is on the books still the Morrell Land Grant College Act of 1862. I went to one in Baton Rouge for 12 years. And today, the land grants of the United States have produced more Nobel Prize winners than all of the universities of continental Europe combined. So in Italian Baton Rouge, we can't afford to build UNO. We can't afford to make you into an institution because of low oil prices, because we got to give tax credits here or whatever. We have to build prisons. We have to do all of that. It's bunk. Don't accept it. Don't accept it. There's everything in our history that says that that's not true. There's everything in common sense to tell you that that's not true. And you know that, and I know that. And every person on this platform, in this audience, and in these stands know that. But if we don't collectively do something, then it will get done to us. And there's this sort of like, well, it's not my problem. I'm an LSU guy. I teach at Tulane. Or it's not my problem because my child goes here, or my child does that, or my parents did this. And it's everybody's got to learn to fend for themselves. You know, the last command of a failed sea captain is every person for himself. The first command of a successful captain is all hands on deck. It's all hands on deck. You can't profess to care about this area or this city without caring about UNO. There's no way we'll ever be a great metropolitan area without a great public institution at our heart. It's impossible. And they will seduce you with arguments that they can't. But you know better. You didn't need me to tell you that, but you might have needed me to remind you of that. That we can talk all we want about being a world-class city. We can talk all we want about our 300th, the tricentenary of this city. We can talk all we want about the tourist numbers or this or that or the great things is, but if there is not a great public university in our midst, we are doomed to mediocrity. And that's just a fact. You know, when I was a teenager, President Kennedy, one of the most famous speeches ever, went to Berlin, and the Berlin Wall was erected. And Berlin was, if you remember your history, was an island in the middle of communist East Germany. And he stood there in one of the most memorable lines ever, proclaimed, "Ich bin Berliner." I slaughtered the German, but it doesn't matter. It was the thought. He said, "I am a Berliner." So I'm going to close and tell you, ich bin ein Privateer. Thank you all very much.